Spain has a surprising number of unspoken rules you won't find in any guidebook, but if you don't know them, you'll immediately stand out as a clueless foreigner and maybe even get yourself in trouble. After moving here from the US and helping many other people do the same, I've discovered the key things you need to know to avoid sticky situations and stop feeling like an outsider. These are the 10 unspoken rules of Spain I wish I knew before moving. Rule number 1 is to never leave your phone on the table when you are in public. Here is what nobody tells you about safety in Spain. So many American families move here to escape a state of constant anxiety. The worries about gun violence, that feeling of always looking over your shoulder. And I want to start with the truth. You should feel safe here because violent crime is almost non-existent comparing to the US. And that feeling of relief is one of the biggest upgrades to your quality of life. But here's the catch: some experts learn the hard way. If you are not careful, your phone can get stolen in a split second, even while you are sitting right there watching it. In fact, that's exactly what happened to me. Years ago, when I was a student, I was in Barcelona sitting at a cafe on a quiet street with my phone right on the table in front of me. In the blink of an eye, someone swooped by, grabbed it, and was gone before I could even process what had happened. A friend of mine saw something similar happen in Madrid when a woman started shouting as a man sprinted down the street with her purse. The mental shift you have to make is to stop fearing for your person and start protecting your property. You don't have to worry about someone randomly pulling out a gun. You just need to be mindful of your possessions in public places. So the rule is simple: don't leave your phone on the table, don't hang your bag on the chair back, keep your bag in your lap and your phone in your pocket. You can learn this lesson the easy way by just being vigilant, or the hard way by losing something once, like I did. The next unspoken rule is that you should not expect to only speak English in Spain. You might hear that you can get by with English in the big cities, and if you are only staying in tourist-friendly areas, then maybe that's true. But keep in mind that only about 22% of Spaniards speak English, which is among the lowest in all of Europe. So if you want to interact with the locals and enjoy the real, authentic culture of Spain, rather than isolating yourself in an expat bubble, then you'll need to learn at least basic Spanish. Even knowing a bit of Spanish goes a long way here, and it's useful for more than just ordering tapas, because especially when you are dealing with bureaucracy, it's practically required. You'll need it to negotiate your lease with a landlord, open a bank account, or attend a government appointment. Don't assume they will speak English with you. My husband and I were at the bank recently, and in front of us there was an expat who asked the bank teller, "Do you speak English?" The teller just shook her head and said no. There was no attempt to find someone who could. The expectation is that you will handle it in Spanish. So prepare what you are going to say before you arrive to avoid awkward situations where you're pulling out your phone and using Google Translate in front of the other person. Now here is what nobody tells you about timing your move. Spain runs on a calendar of national and local holidays, and they take them very seriously. So it's important to plan around them. Don't plan your move for August if you want all the local services to be available. And don't expect to find an apartment during Christmas time. It's not that it's impossible, but it's much harder. In August, a huge portion of the country goes on vacation for 2 to 4 weeks. Locals leave the city while tourists flock in. Many businesses close down, government officers are much slower, and you'll find it nearly impossible to get anything done. The same goes for the Christmas and New Year period. And for families moving with kids, keep in mind that the school enrollment windows will dictate your timeline for moving. The school year ends in late June and doesn't start again until mid-September. But top international schools in Spain are very competitive, so it's important to start the enrollment process as early as possible, or you may not be able to secure a spot until the following year. The next thing to keep in mind is that even when it's not vacation time, Spain operates on a completely different clock. You've probably heard of the siesta, which technically translates as nap in Spanish, but don't call it that to a local. Most Spaniards don't actually nap during this time, and many get offended by this stereotype. Rather, this is the sacred midday break for the main and most important family meal of the day. It lasts from 2 to 5 p.m. and during this time, most things shut down. So, don't schedule errands during these hours. Banks, small shops, post offices, and many government services are all closed. While big supermarkets and chain stores often stay open, you have to schedule your entire life around this break. If you need to mail a package or go to the bank, you go before 2 p.m. For us, this was a massive adjustment. In the US, you can run errands in the afternoon. Here, you have to batch all your important tasks for the morning or for the evening. The other thing to keep in mind is that Spanish businesses have a preferred way of communicating. And by that, I mean don't rely on email. For businesses, landlords, or government offices, you will get crickets. Spaniards prefer direct communication. The rule is to either call on the phone or send a message on WhatsApp. The moment we stopped sending emails that went into a black hole and started making phone calls and sending WhatsApp messages, everything suddenly started moving forward. But beyond just how you communicate, there is another cultural shift that will surprise you, which is Spanish people value relationships more than money. In Spain, nobody cares about how much you make or what kind of car you drive or how big your house is. They're just interested in connecting with you as a person. This even applies to Spanish businesses, which often value long-term relationships over an immediate sale. Shopkeepers aren't desperate to sell you something. They'd rather have a good conversation and build a connection. This is one of the most refreshing changes from the US culture, where you're used to walking in a store and immediately having someone try to sell you something. We experienced this firsthand when I went with a friend to a local beauty shop. The owner had a genuine 20-minute conversation with us. We didn't even buy anything, but as we were leaving, she gave us a free hand cream just as a nice gesture. We were amazed. There is another local shop we go in Valencia called Huerta de Laura that has amazing fresh produce, and the owner, Laura, always gives us a free little gift whenever we buy something. She'll throw in a peach and say, "This is a special kind of peach and it's so good, you have to try it." And she'll just give it to us for free. We've built an amazing relationship with her just because she's so warm and welcoming. And we actually want to spend more money at her shop just to support her small business. So this relationship-focused approach that many small businesses have in Spain is a breath of fresh air, especially if you are used to the purely transactional vibe in America. And this warmth also shows up in how Spanish people greet each other, which brings me to the next unspoken rule. Instead of just a handshake or a hug, Spanish people greet each other with dos besos, or 2 air kisses starting from left to right. This is another unwritten rule in Spain, and a big mistake to avoid is don't go in for a hug, as the other person will usually give you dos besos while you try to embrace them, leading to an awkward situation. Just don't actually kiss their cheek with your lips. It's cheek to cheek, not actual lip contact. It's the standard for women greeting women and men greeting women. Men usually just shake hands or do a bro handshake with one hand and pat each other on the back with the other hand. You typically won't see men doing dos besos with other men unless they're very close. It takes some getting used to, but getting it right is a key signal that you're trying to integrate without seeming cold or standoffish. And while we are talking about fitting in socially, in the US, it's normal to run errands in sportswear or even go to the store in your pajamas. Don't do that here if you want to blend in. Spaniards, especially the older generations, put a lot of care into their appearance, even for simple daily tasks. If you don't want to be perceived as a geary or a tacky tourist, don't wear flip-flops, a beach shirt, and swim shorts to the bank. Don't show up to a cafe in workout clothes, and don't go out to dinner in sportswear. It's not that they'll kick you out or make a big deal about it. Spanish people are very relaxed and they have a live and let live mentality, but you will immediately stand out as a foreigner. I'll never forget seeing an elderly man in a full three-piece suit just to go to the bank on a Tuesday morning. Old people especially are very traditional here, but even younger Spanish people tend to at least dress classy, casual when they're out in the city. Next, here's a common mistake to avoid when going grocery shopping. When you're in the supermarket, don't handle fruits, vegetables, or bakery with your bare hands. People will absolutely judge you for this. You should always use the thin plastic gloves provided. Also, don't wait for the cashier to bag your groceries. You're expected to do it yourself. Bags here aren't the free, flimsy kind you get at Walmart. They charge you a few cents for them, but they're much stronger, bigger, and higher quality than the free bags they give you in US supermarkets. The cashier will always ask you bolsa or bag if you want to buy one, but most people bring their own bags or alternatively a carrito, which is a personal shopping cart for carrying groceries home. They're very popular among the locals and you can find them in any local China shop. I highly recommend buying one as soon as you move here. We thought they were just for old people and resisted getting one for a year, carrying heavy bags home from the store, but it was a mistake. Our clients now buy them the week they arrive. It makes grocery shopping here a lot easier and it's a symbol of embracing the walkable, less car-dependent lifestyle of Spain. Before you even start shopping for groceries, though, there is one critical thing to handle, which is bringing your medications to Spain. Don't assume you can just refill your US prescriptions here. American prescriptions aren't valid in Spain. And don't come without at least a 3-month supply, which is the legal limit you can bring through customs, to give you a time to find a Spanish doctor and get new prescriptions. Finally, don't skip getting a translated medical letter from your US doctor explaining your conditions and medications. It's not legally required, but it makes customs and your first Spanish doctor visit much smoother. Many over-the-counter drugs from the US require a prescription in Spain. You can't just refill at Walgreens anymore, and you'll need to navigate the Spanish healthcare system to continue your medications. Start researching your medications' Spanish equivalent and active ingredients before you even pack your bags. Look, you're going to make mistakes with all of this. You'll mess up the dos besos. You'll show up somewhere at 3 p.m. expecting it to be open. You'll have some awkward misunderstandings when speaking in Spanish. But here's what I want you to know. Spaniards understand you are adapting. They don't expect you to be perfect. They just appreciate you making the effort, trying to learn some Spanish, working to integrate, building those relationships we talked about. Once you do, you'll stop feeling like an outsider and start feeling right at home in Spain. Now, if you're thinking of moving to Spain, it starts with getting a visa. And I've created a free checklist for the 2 most popular routes Americans use to move to Spain, the digital nomad visa and the non-lucrative visa. You can download both of them in the description below. They break down all the requirements and documents you'll need. And if you're planning on moving from the US to Spain within the next 6 months and want professional help navigating the entire visa process, finding your ideal apartment, enrolling your kids in schools, and navigating all the bureaucracy we talked about today, you can book a free discovery call with our team. The link is also in the description. And if you're wondering what to watch next, click here to watch another video I did on why some people struggle living in Spain and what you should be aware of before moving. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Hasta pronto!